Summary of 100 Years of Solitude. Step into an enchanting world of this postmodern masterpiece by Gabriel García Márquez, written and narrated by JANKY. Introduction. 100 Years of Solitude unfolds the captivating multi-generational saga of the Buendía family, the visionary founders of the mythical town of Macondo. Infusing magical realism with historical threads, Gabriel García Márquez's opus navigates through a century of joy, sorrow, and solitary moments experienced by the family and the inhabitants of Macondo. García Márquez's masterpiece, a virtuoso display of magical realism, blurs the lines between enchantment and the ordinary. Set against the backdrop of Macondo, the narrative intricately weaves 7 generations of the Buendía family into a lush tapestry of love, power, isolation, and destiny. From the town's inception to its predestined decline, the story encapsulates the cyclicality of history and the shared human experiences that resonate universally. Upon its 1967 release, the novel swiftly garnered global acclaim, solidifying García Márquez's stature as a literary luminary. Amidst political upheavals and the ideological divides of the Cold War era, the tale's depiction of Latin America's turbulent history, spanning colonial times to modernity, struck a chord. Mirroring the continent's struggles with imperialism, civil unrest, and identity quests, it significantly influenced the Latin American literary boom, challenging the previously Eurocentric focus of the global literary landscape. More than half a century later, the relevance of the novel persists. In a world grappling with rapid globalization and the erosion of cultural distinctiveness, the tale of Macondo serves as a poignant reminder of the imperative to preserve history and identity. The Buendía family's journey, filled with passion, tragedy, and solitude, echoes the existential dilemmas of modern society, where individuals, despite unprecedented connectivity, often experience profound isolation. In an era where truth appears flexible and reality stranger than fiction, the magical realism of the novel feels eerily prescient. García Márquez's enduring work continues to inspire readers and writers alike, underscoring the timeless nature of human emotions and the inescapable cycles woven into the fabric of history. Before embarking on this intricate narrative, it's worth noting the complexity of the story and the similarity of many character names. To stay oriented, consider having a pen and paper handy to jot down names as we delve into this enchanting journey. Are you ready? Let's embark on this mesmerizing odyssey with the Buendías, unraveling a tale so magical and haunting that it will leave you questioning the very essence of reality itself. Chapter 1. Genesis and Solitude. Our journey commences with the introspective musings of Colonel Aureliano Buendía, casting a nostalgic gaze upon the early days of Macondo, an idyllic hamlet founded by his father, José Arcadio Buendía. Nestled in seclusion, Macondo's only connection to the outside world is through sporadic visits by gypsies bearing mesmerizing technological wonders that enchant its denizens. José Arcadio Buendía, enraptured by these marvels, plunges into scientific pursuits, supplied by Melquiades, the leader of the visiting gypsies. His quest for knowledge renders him increasingly solitary, a trajectory at odds with the pragmatic approach of his wife, Ursula Igarin. While José Arcadio Buendía harbors dreams of relocating Macondo to integrate with civilization, Ursula staunchly opposes leaving their haven. Undeterred, he shifts his focus to their sons, José Arcadio, inheritor of his father's strength, and Aureliano, an enigmatic child destined to become Colonel Aureliano Buendía. The return of the gypsies heralds new technological wonders, such as ice, hailed by José Arcadio Buendía as the pinnacle of human invention. The narrative then delves into the origins of José Arcadio Buendía and Ursula, tracing their fears of genetic deformities arising from their cousin kinship and their odyssey to establish Macondo. A fatal confrontation over virility results in their departure from their original village, culminating in the establishment of Macondo after months of wandering. In his adolescence, José Arcadio, the son, entangles himself in a liaison with Pilar Ternera, leading to her pregnancy. However, he abandons her and the newborn, Amaranta, in favor of a gypsy love. Ursula, desperate to reunite with her son, follows them but returns months later after recognizing the allure of civilization. Pilar Ternera gives birth to Arcadio, and an enigmatic orphan, plagued by insomnia and memory loss, becomes part of the Buendía household. The town adopts a practice of labeling everything to combat forgetfulness. Melquiades returns with an antidote for the town's collective insomnia and introduces a new technology, the daguerreotype, which captivates José Arcadio Buendía. Attempting to capture an image of God with this innovation becomes his fervent pursuit. As Ursula expands the Buendía residence, the arrival of a magistrate from the central government sparks a confrontation over the house's color. José Arcadio Buendía defiantly expels the magistrate, even resisting his return with soldiers. Simultaneously, Aureliano, José Arcadio Buendía's son, falls in love with Remedios Moscote, the magistrate's daughter. Aureliano's emotional turmoil leads to an affair with Pilar Ternera, who aids him in pursuing Remedios. Meanwhile, the Buendía daughters, Rebecca and Amaranta, both captivated by a stranger named Pietro Crespi, spark a rivalry that results in arranged marriages. Amaranta vows to thwart Rebecca's nuptials, introducing tension. Following Melquiades' demise, a brief period of joy is overshadowed by José Arcadio Buendía's descent into madness, haunted by visions and the cyclical nature of time. 100 Years of Solitude unfolds with a distinctive narrative structure that weaves together memory, history, and fiction. The temporal disjunction and fluidity highlight the novel's exploration of humanity's inclination to blur reality with fantasy, intertwine memory with history, and blend subjectivity with objectivity. Magical realism seamlessly juxtaposes the ordinary and the extraordinary, embodying the novel's core theme of the subjective nature of reality, where memory and history bear equal weight, and time is malleable. Macondo's evolution becomes a canvas for examining the impact of modernization and societal shifts. The village symbolizes humanity's progression, marked by prosperity and societal challenges. The clash between José Arcadio Buendía's vision and the magistrate's regulations serves as García Márquez's commentary on Latin American political ideologies. Solitude emerges as a recurring motive, with characters seeking solace in isolation as a response to the shortcomings of human society. Chapter 2: Turmoil of War and Political Upheaval. The narrative unfolds with the marriage of Remedios and Aureliano, an arrangement initiated when she reaches puberty. Meanwhile, Rebecca's impending union with Pietro Crespi faces a calculated disruption as Amaranta, seeking to delay the ceremony, fabricates a deceptive letter claiming Crespi's mother is gravely ill. Remedios brings vitality to the Buendía household and selflessly agrees to raise Aureliano José, the offspring of Aureliano and Pilar Ternera, as her own. Tragedy strikes soon after their marriage when Remedios passes away, casting a somber pall over the family and further delaying the nuptials of Pietro Crespi and Rebecca. The construction of Macondo's inaugural church unveils a surprising revelation about José Arcadio Buendía's perceived madness. His seemingly nonsensical utterances are, in fact, pure Latin, showcasing a linguistic proficiency that challenges the family's assumptions about his mental state. The return of Aureliano's brother, José Arcadio, brings a robust, masculine presence to the scene. Despite Rebecca's engagement to Pietro Crespi, she succumbs to the allure of José Arcadio's masculinity, sparking an affair that culminates in marriage. Outraged, Ursula banishes them from the household. Crespi, rejected by Amaranta earlier, finds solace in her company. Aureliano, grappling with solitude following Remedios' demise, is stirred to action by the looming conflict between the conservative government and liberal rebels. Disenchanted by the conservatives' corruption, he aligns himself with the liberals, leading a rebellion that captures Macondo and propels him into the role of Colonel Aureliano Buendía. He eventually ascends to leadership within the liberal armies. Colonel Aureliano Buendía fathers numerous children across the nation during the war, leaving the illegitimate son, Arcadio, in charge of Macondo. Under Arcadio's rule, marked by cruelty, he marries Santa Sofia de la Piedad, and their union yields 3 children. However, when the conservatives reclaim Macondo, Arcadio meets his demise through execution. Amaranta rejects Pietro Crespi's proposal, leading him to take his own life. The toll of war leaves Colonel Aureliano Buendía scarred, both emotionally and mentally. The Buendía family experiences significant losses during this period, including the death of José Arcadio Buendía. As time elapses, Aureliano José, the son of Colonel Aureliano Buendía and Pilar Ternera, develops an unsettling passion for his aunt Amaranta, reciprocated briefly in her solitude. However, the affair is abruptly terminated when they are on the brink of discovery. Aureliano José, having deserted the rebel army, meets his demise at the hands of a conservative soldier, devastating Amaranta. Colonel Buendía reluctantly returns to Macondo to sign a peace treaty, grappling with a sense of betrayal toward the liberals. An attempted suicide is thwarted by a chest wound, and Ursula steps in to salvage the Buendía home from the ravages of war. As the novel widens its scope to encompass national events, the Buendía family retreats into solitude. War dehumanizes Colonel Buendía, and the family grapples with tragedy, incestuous desires, and alienation, epitomized in Arcadio's despotic rule, a pointed critique by García Márquez on Latin American dictatorships, and Aureliano José's misguided passion for Amaranta. José Arcadio Buendía's Latin ramblings underscore language as a barrier. In the midst of miracles and tragedies, the Buendías find no respite. Ultimately, solitude emerges as the central force precipitating their downfall. Chapter 3. Dawn of Modernity. Colonel Aureliano Buendía retreats from societal engagement, immersing himself in the creation of intricate golden fish within his workshop while relinquishing political discourse. Simultaneously, his nephew, Aureliano II, delves into the mystical artifacts left by Melquiades in his laboratory. The other twin, José Arcadio II, explores religious fervor and engages in the world of cockfighting. The twins share a romantic involvement with Petra Coates, initially unbeknownst to her that they are distinct individuals. José Arcadio II, afflicted by a venereal disease, withdraws from Petra, but Aureliano II persists in the relationship. This liaison yields supernatural fertility for Aureliano II's livestock, substantially augmenting his wealth. Despite marrying the aristocratic Fernanda del Carpio, Aureliano II continues his association with Petra Coates to sustain the fertility of his farm animals. Fernanda imposes a stringent moral code upon the Buendía household, creating tension. Despite their strained relationship, they bear 2 children, Renata Remedios, known as Meme, and José Arcadio II. The advent of a railway connection heralds the arrival of the modern world in Macondo. Foreign capitalists establish a banana plantation and an oppressive police force, symbolizing the intrusion of industrial progress into the once magical and innocent realm of Macondo. The clash between idyllic simplicity and the harsh reality of modernity unfolds as the town undergoes profound transformation. As Macondo undergoes metamorphosis, Ursula loses her sight but adapts by relying on familiar routines and the predictability of those around her. She senses the accelerated passage of time compared to days of yore. Meme is sent to a convent, contributing to the increasing emptiness and somberness of the Buendía household. A temporary respite occurs with the return of Meme and her lively friends, injecting a brief reprieve from the prevailing gloom. As the family's history unfolds in cyclic patterns, Colonel Aureliano Buendía further isolates himself, persistently creating and remelting his golden fish until his eventual demise. This section delves into the theme of history repeating itself, encapsulating the Buendía family in a cycle of past errors. The introduction of the railway symbolizes the clash between the old and the new, as modern industrial technology disrupts the once idyllic town of Macondo. This mirrors the challenges faced by Latin American societies in reconciling with Western culture and progress. While Macondo comfortably embraces magic and myth, the intrusion of industrial advancements is perceived as unsettling and discordant. The Buendía family grapples with their past, attempting to navigate a future in the face of a rapidly changing world. The intricate web of the family's repetitive history parallels the structure of the Bible, with generations passing swiftly as time progresses. This mirrors the human experience where childhood appears boundless, while adulthood rushes by. As Macondo sheds its innocence, the Buendías find themselves ensnared in the cyclical history of their family, unable to break free from the echoes of the past. Chapter 4. Descending into Decline and Revisiting Isolation. Amaranta, in the twilight of her years, retreats into the shadows of the past, weaving her own funeral shroud and ultimately meeting her end as a virgin, having foreseen her demise. Ursula, grappling with advancing age and diminishing sight, forms an unexpected connection with the judgmental Fernanda and her granddaughter, Amaranta Ursula. Mime, consumed by love for Mauricio Babylonia, a mechanic on the banana plantation surrounded by yellow butterflies, engages in a fervent affair with him. Their passionate romance is abruptly terminated when Fernanda discovers them, leading to Mime's confinement and the paralysis of Mauricio. Mute and brokenhearted, Mime spends the remainder of her life in a convent, where she gives birth to Mauricio's illegitimate child, Aureliano. José Arcadio II clandestinely organizes a strike among the banana plantation workers to protest their intolerable working conditions. The government orchestrates a massacre, masquerading as a meeting, and ruthlessly guns down the protesters, disposing of their bodies at sea. Despite miraculously surviving, José Arcadio's attempts to expose the atrocity prove futile as relentless rains wash away any remaining evidence. The deluge persists for nearly 5 years, submerging the town and erasing Aureliano II's fortune amassed from his thriving livestock. Reuniting with Petra Coates, they rekindle their love amidst destitution. Meanwhile, Ursula succumbs to senility and passes away at the remarkable age of 120. Assuming responsibility for Amaranta Ursula, Aureliano II raises funds to send her to Europe for education. Simultaneously, he meets his demise alongside his brother, José Arcadio II. In his final moments, José Arcadio imparts the town's history and the narrative of the massacre to Aureliano. A poignant mix-up results in the twins being buried in the wrong graves. The recurrent patterns across generations underscore Ursula's poignant realization that history appears to be caught in an inescapable loop. Mime's fate mirrors that of her mother, while José Arcadio II inherits both the revolutionary fervor and solitude emblematic of Colonel Aureliano Buendía. This cyclical pattern encapsulates the family's spiraling descent. García Márquez's impartial depiction of the worker massacre reflects his childhood memories of witnessing similar events. His political stance is evident in the critique of the exploitative banana company and the complicit government. The extended rainfall serves as a metaphorical biblical lament for the fallen workers and an allegory of the banana company's godlike ability to erase the massacre from memory. In a regressing and increasingly forgetful Macondo, where Ursula succumbs to senility, Aureliano emerges as the solitary guardian of the town's memories and clandestine history. His retelling challenges the official narrative, highlighting the novel's fusion of fact and fiction. In Macondo, reality remains an ever-shifting and subjective construct. Chapter 5. Concluding Revelations. Aureliano remains sequestered in Melquiades's ancient laboratory, occasionally visited by the ghost of Melquiades himself. Guided by the spectral presence, Aureliano learns that the enigmatic parchments will only unveil their secrets when they reach a century in age. The destitute Buendias subsist on clandestinely sent provisions from Aureliano II's former lover, Petra Coates. Santa Sofia de la Piedad, Arcadio's widow and longtime caretaker, inexplicably departs from the Buendia household. Soon after, Fernanda del Carpio succumbs to death, immersed in nostalgia for her aristocratic past. Fernanda's son, José Arcadio, reemerges after years of absence, revealing that his purported seminary studies were a facade, merely biding time for his impending inheritance. Unearthing gold hidden by Ursula in her dilapidated home, he indulges in extravagant revelries with the town's youth. After forging a connection with the reclusive Aureliano, José Arcadio's newfound companions betray him, committing murder and pilfering his remaining wealth. Amaranta Ursula returns from Europe with her Belgian spouse, Gaston, harboring aspirations of revitalizing the crumbling household and town, despite the apparent irreversibility of their decline. An incestuous relationship blooms between Aureliano and Amaranta Ursula, resulting in the birth of a child with a pig's tail, a manifestation of Ursula's long-standing fears about incest and the family's insular nature. Gaston departs upon discovering the affair, and Amaranta Ursula succumbs to postpartum hemorrhage. Abandoning the child, Aureliano succumbs to alcohol-induced forgetfulness, leaving the infant to a grim fate, devoured by ants, the poignant conclusion to the Buendia lineage. Aureliano finally deciphers Melquiades's prophetic parchments, unveiling the complete saga of the Buendia family, from Macondo's inception to its apocalyptic demise. As he reads, an apocalyptic whirlwind descends upon Macondo, bringing about its annihilation. The novel completes its narrative circle with the incestuous liaison between Amaranta Ursula and Aureliano, culminating in a cursed offspring and the family's ultimate downfall. The pig's tail becomes the physical embodiment of Ursula's enduring apprehensions regarding incest and the family's self-contained existence. When Aureliano deciphers Melquiades's writings, the convergence of time and reality is revealed. The text mirrors events that have already unfolded. Melquiades, embodying García Márquez, encodes past and future in prophetic text, akin to García Márquez shaping Macondo as a reflection of Colombian history. Macondo serves as a microcosm, with the Buendia family mirroring humanity's collective experience. Its obliteration symbolizes the apocalyptic demise awaiting civilizations ensnared in cyclical histories. Like humanity, the Buendias are tethered to a wheel that turns until the weight of their history brings it to a standstill, mirroring the rise and fall of civilizations. Summary: 100 Years of Solitude intricately weaves the tale of the Buendia family's ascent and decline alongside the evolution of the town they established, Macondo. Initially secluded, Macondo undergoes transformation with the arrival of gypsies and emerging technologies. The patriarch, José Arcadio Buendia, becomes consumed by his pursuits and the destinies of his sons, José Arcadio and Aureliano. The narrative unfolds with pivotal moments in the Buendias' lives, encompassing births, deaths, love stories, and personal metamorphoses. The men in the family exhibit a spectrum of passion and wildness to introspection and contemplation, while the women, from the vibrant mime to the reserved Fernanda del Carpio, introduce intricacies to the family dynamics. Amidst the divergent personalities, matriarch Ursula Igarin strives to maintain unity. The advent of modernity challenges Macondo with the establishment of a banana plantation, symbolizing the onset of imperialist capitalism and resulting in the exploitation of both land and people. A tragic massacre by the army follows a workers' strike against mistreatment, accompanied by an unrelenting 5-year reign, emblematic of Macondo's decay. As time unfolds, the fate of the Buendia family mirrors the destiny of Macondo. The novel's concluding chapters depict a town and family in disarray, with the Buendias entangled in an incestuous spiral and detached from the external world. The tale concludes with the last Buendia's haunting revelation, drawn from ancient prophecies. Their lives were predestined, an intricate tapestry of beauty and sorrow characterized by Gabriel García Márquez's distinctive magical realism. This audiobook summary was brought to you by JANKY. We hope you enjoyed it.